Hey, what's up guys? It is Kydro. This is a follow-up video to my last video about Wuthering Waves and Genshin. Pretty much, players are fed up, guys. I've seen it in the comment section. It's literally exploding. The video got 30,000 views in one day, and people literally are just sharing their feelings about how frustrated they are now with Genshin. It was only a matter of time, because the amount of frustration that builds up when you start playing a game where the developer just simply chooses to ignore their own players, that they are not existent, and simply just treat them as a wallet. Just simply gives to show now that now players have awakened, players have arisen. After playing Wuthering Waves, they actually know now that there's better developers, better gacha companies that can actually give compensation, that actually addresses issues in the game, that apologize, that actually want to give their players a better gaming experience. Games simply was the needle for that balloon that filled up with frustration. The last video was simply about how frustrating it is now to play Genshin. Just climbing feels so slow. You want to do the grappling hook all the time, but you don't have it anymore. It simply is just so bad. The game is so big and traveling just feels like a pain. I look at this mountain and I don't want to climb on it because I know it's gonna take me at least 5 to 10 minutes to get up there. If I can even get up there, it's not even guaranteed, because I'm gonna run out of stamina and probably die. And this is just one of the reasons why players are so fed up with Genshin. And Wuthering Waves giving out more free pulls that we ever got in 4 years of Genshin in the first week is just such an eye-opener for people that actually started Genshin as their first gacha game. And yes, I want to compare this to Nike or other gacha games that give for anniversaries hundreds of pulls, guys. It's a normal thing to do. And yes, we also got like over 100 pulls in the first week in Wuthering Waves, which is such a good and generous thing to do. But it also should be the norm for them. Just Genshin never treated their players right. It is what it is. Because why should they treat their players better if they make enough money? And that's also one thing that we are going to talk about in this video. That even if they make a ton of money, it simply just doesn't mean that the game is good. It just means that they probably know how to make a lot of money. And that's what they've been doing. They've been treating their own game basically more as a cash grab than an actual video game. The last years, all they focused on was stupid minigames, stupid events, more characters and more zones. And I looked at so many comments from you guys and I thought, why not make a video about all the flaws that Genshin Impact actually has. So if you maybe see some stuff that you maybe wrote in the comments from my last video, maybe it is inspired from your comments. Because the list is simply so long of all the flaws that Genshin has. And I thought maybe somebody should keep track of that. So I made like this huge list that is probably not complete. So also let me know in the comments if there's even more flaws that you wish the game would fix, or what is the most annoying stuff in Genshin. And I want to start off with the most important and biggest annoyance of the game. One thing that just always caused the drama was the bad anniversary rewards. I mean, that just simply gives off such a nice start to see how generous this Genshin company really is. Where in Wuthering Waves, we literally got a free 5-star character because of the miserable game launch, because there was so many issues with the game. They chose to give a 5-star character. There's not many options a developer can do to calm down their player base and show them that they actually care about them, which Games have been showing the best signs about it. Literally every bug that we encounter gives us one free pull. It's insane. So yeah, it's just simply bad rewards. Also, the amount of Primogems in the game that you can get every month is just super low. But speaking about the other thing, that they simply choose to not respond to feedback anymore. The last time they actually chose to fix something or change a character was Zhongli, and he came out in 1.2. So that's like 3 years ago, more than 3 years ago. And I don't know what happened, but they simply chose to just change how they develop the game and not listen to feedback anymore. And yes, what happens over time if the developer chooses to not listen to feedback at all anymore and just simply ignores their players? You can see it here in my last video. The amount of frustration is building and building up. Issues are getting bigger and bigger. Not adding quality of life, not adding stuff for the core gameplay experience, not caring about the player's experience in general. There's so many frustrating things in the game that could be fixed so easily, but they simply choose to not do it. I'm still surprised that they didn't fix the here still. Why does her jump button cancel her ult? It's one of the most annoying and dumb things in the game that could be fixed so easily. And there are so many other things that they just choose to not fix or address. So yeah, this point is just that they are not responding to feedback and not really care about their players. As long they are getting money, they don't care. And that's literally what the players feel now, after they experienced Wuthering Waves and saw that there can be a company that actually wants their players to feel good playing their game. And it's just such a nice thing to see everybody feels the same pain. There's so many people sharing their opinions and feedback now in the comments, because HoYoverse didn't care. Genshin never listened to these opinions. And these people are now so frustrated. I mean, my video got like 30,000 views and like 800 comments. It's insane. Just gives to show how frustrated people actually are nowadays with Genshin, which could have been prevented so easily if they just would care about their player base. Another good point that somebody in the comments said, and I want to address here as well, was that the game just simply feels outdated now. After you played Wuthering Waves, you just jump back to Genshin, and Genshin feels like you're playing Wuthering Waves but in slow motion. Everything feels slower, the combat is slower, the combat is more boring. There's no hit feedback if you hit something or a monster. When you do an attack in Wuthering Wave, it feels like you're doing bam, boom, bam. It's so satisfying, you literally get dopamine inside your brain. Genshin doesn't really have that. All Genshin has nowadays is big reaction numbers. Your whole screen is full of numbers and you don't even know what's happening anymore. No perfect parries, no dodging, no slow motion when you do a perfect dodge. So many things that just make the combat way more satisfying in Genshin. And yes, these two are different games. It just feels like so outdated now if you jump to one game to another. And since these two games are so similar, it feels like you're playing the older version of it or something. And Genshin is still the same game after 4 years, where they could have improved on the gameplay core mechanics, but they chose not to do that. All they've been doing simply the last couple of years was making money. More banners, more characters, more weapons, more zones. That's it. More story. That was the whole thing. The whole gimmicks. Content priority so far was only making new events, like playing Guitar Hero or being a barkeeper, basically. Not giving us meaningful or repeatable content to do in the game. There's literally nothing you can really do with your characters, except for the Abyss, and that's been like that for 4 years. I mean, they're doing now more endgame, but it's way too late. It's way too late. They simply chose to not add new gameplay elements, not improve on the core gameplay. They didn't add endgame, there's nothing to do in the overworld. After you've explored the whole world, opened every chest, there's nothing to do. The whole world is just an empty place. The monsters don't give you good loot, there's no reason to kill any of these. I simply choose to ignore most of the monsters and just walk over them or past them, because there's no reason to waste my time killing these monsters. Which is just such a sad thing. Because they actually in the past had a pretty good idea how to make the open world more exciting. There was this one hilichurl that you could kill that gave you a chance of getting primogems. I never got primogems from this hilichurl, but it was a cool, nice idea, and if they could have improved on this idea, made it a little bit more special or something, it could have been at least one reason to go out there in the open world and explore. But no, there's nothing to do. Wuthering Waves doesn't have this issue. I said this in the last video too, that we have echoes in Wuthering Waves, and all the monsters that you see, you can just kill them and you will be rewarded for that. Genshin, there's nothing similar to this, sadly. Also, the huge difference from Genshin to Wuthering Waves is also the 4 stars, because some of the 4-star characters just simply feel useless. Sometimes they add characters that seem like they're just there to be there. There's no value to get them. For example, there's Xinyan, very useless. Mika is way too niche. Setos, I don't know who wants to play that character, but I heard he's pretty decent. And Aloy, probably the worst character in the whole game. Cavi. Who was thinking about Cavi's kit? Who's the one who actually came up with that idea? It's just so weird to play, gameplay-wise. Also, the gameplay itself is just getting simply so boring. Ganyu, a charge attack spammer. Linne, a charge attack spammer. So many characters having similar gameplay styles, and most characters just don't have unique abilities. Who chose that it is a good idea to force Xiao to jump up and down for 30 seconds? What type of player enjoys this in the long term? I don't know. It's just getting so boring. Next up is gonna be the traveling and exploring, because it's just simply too slow. And Wuthering Waves opens up your eyes if you played it. Jumping back to Genshin, you realize that every type of traveling just simply is a core. It feels like doing cores. It's just so punishing. You lose stamina all the time. You have stamina consumption out of combat. You have no grappling hook, which probably so many people just miss in the game. They also choose that most of the zones have special traveling mechanics and don't put them in other zones. Traveling itself should be fun, exploring should be fun, and it shouldn't feel like a freaking core. When I see a mountain in Wuthering Waves, I want to climb on that. I'm gonna wall run, it takes me maybe 5 seconds and then I'm there. In Genshin, it would take me 5 minutes. I will probably die 5 times. And it's not even guaranteed that I'm able to climb that far without losing all my stamina and die again. It simply is just so frustrating. Also, Wuthering Waves just simply feels so fun traveling alone. I think sometimes I just log into the game just to jump around with my grappling hook and dash combos. It's just so fun. How is it that Genshin still doesn't have artifact loadouts? They give us this weird recommendation system, but there's no loadout still. It takes such a long time to prepare every character with new artifacts. It's so dumb that it's still not available. Next point is locking better traveling mechanics behind characters. For example, Yelan, Xianyun, Wanderer, or Zayu. Instead of making the game faster to travel, giving us a mount or something. I mean, in Netland we're gonna turn into dinosaurs or whatever, or Pokemons. But still, they always choose like these temporary fixes where you basically have to spend money on just to have more convenience in the game. And it's obvious that people are just frustrated over the traveling mechanics in general now. Next up, the cutscenes, the animations, and ragdoll physics, with barely any face animations at all. I don't even know if they have some. Like, some of the animations seem like they were made 10 years ago. And I always think all the time, if they make so much money, can they not make better NPCs that don't look that ugly? Can they not make better animations for dialogues? You know, if they force us to read a dialogue or watch a whole dialogue scene for 5 minutes, they could at least make it more animated or more fun to watch. But no, it's simply characters standing on the ground still, not moving and just talking, with barely facial animations or body language. It is so boring. Next up is one of my points, dump quests. These really long event quests or side quests where they introduce a brand new character, NPC, that is simply just ugly, and you look at that NPC and you immediately know you will never see that person again. It's gonna be like a 3 to 4 hour quest line, and then this NPC is gone and you will never see him again. You know, we have like a cast of 80 characters, of 80 beloved characters. Everybody has a favorite character in the game. And they just simply give us a random NPC that has nothing to do with the main campaign or lore, and we will forget about this NPC at one point. I don't know why they keep doing this. Or at least just make the NPC look better. Why do NPCs look so ugly if you have so much money, guys? It's so weird. I mean, I kind of already talked about this other point, the lacking action in combat. I mean, it's hard to compare it because Wuthering Waves is just so good. All the gameplay mechanics are so satisfying. You get hit with dopamine simply with sound effect. Did you guys ever play Genshin and you hear like this gong? It's one of the best sound effects in the game and it's so satisfying. Or if you hit the parry, if you hit the perfect dodge, Wuthering Waves is just on a different level that way. I just think that Genshin could at least make newer characters or work on the gameplay mechanics at least a little bit. And if you actually were there at the beginning, I think this was around Inazuma. There was in 2.1 or something was an event, a parrying event. They added a parry mechanic to the game and everybody liked it. And the thing was, everybody was expecting that Genshin would add parry system into the game. And everybody was really excited because it would make the game just so much better if it's possible to do that. People were literally going crazy about it. Oh my god, parry system soon, cool, cool, I love it. But guess what? This was a one-time event. Or maybe 2-time event, I'm not sure, but they never did it again. Or they just simply chose to not implement it into the game. Because it's probably too hard for these casual gamers that play on the phone for 5 minutes a day. Or let's just be honest, it's kids. They make the game for kids and it has to be easy. Which is just one other point here, that they just simply don't evolve their game enough. They don't adapt while developing the game. They don't make the game more fun. They don't work on the core gameplay experience at all. Which is just so weird, because if you compare Genshin to Star Rail, their other game from the same company, Star Rail is so beloved by the community because they actually give out so many rewards. Every update there's 10 pull or 20 pulls even, and it feels like they also add like new endgame and challenges every new update. It also changes a little bit of the gameplay style every now and then. It's been only like 1 or 2 years since the game is out. Insane how they treat their game. And it's like Star Rail is the favorite child and Genshin is the bad child that is never getting loved. I just don't understand why they cannot just copy the behavior from the Star Rail developers in Genshin. So I want to talk about the TCG. I really wonder who came up with this training card game that nobody plays anymore. And the worst thing is that they still put effort into the development of this. It's gotta be such a low amount that actually plays this card game compared to the huge player base that Genshin has. One of the biggest things is also the no skip button. I think I saw like over 100 comments saying that it is just such a stupid decision for the developers not giving us the options to skip dialogue, make dialogue faster, or just simply let us skip. The option should always be there. Give players a choice how they want to play the game. Some people just cannot watch 10-minute dialogues every day because they have to do something, they are in a rush. But no, we don't have a skip button. It is insane. The developers just simply choose to force the players to get attached to the story or something. And I saw so many comments saying it is literally torture. Seeing these boring dialogues that are literally unnecessary long. If they want to force us to watch something, make it at least better. Make the story good. Make the animations better. Make it more exciting. Make the camera angles like Wuthering Waves. Give more facial expressions. These are literally two ragdolls doing a T-pose that I'm watching it. And you guys forced me to watch this. Another big point, material collection is just annoying. You have to press one button to pick up one item. Sometimes the items even fall into the water and just disappear. Sometimes you are on a mountain and the items fall down from the mountain and you will never see that item again. I don't even want to know how many items I've lost in my gameplay time because I've been playing since day one and I don't know who came up with this development decision for this system. Like sometimes, why? Why is it on top of a mountain and sometimes the items just fall down? I never will understand that design decision. It is simply just frustrating and annoying. I also added here copy-pasting of character kits and abilities. Chlorinde actually has literally Keqing's ult. And also Chiori has Keqing's ult, if I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Chiori also has Keqing's ult. Then Sino has Razor's ult, and these are just 3 examples. In Wuthering Wave, every character feels so unique and so good to play and has its own value. You can just simply play every character that is in the game and it is valuable. One other bad thing is the events that will never come back that had important lore into it. The summer event with Klee and her mom, Alice, which had like some important lore hints and even some weapons. If you were not there years ago, you will never see that weapon again. Or even the official summer event where you actually got to know about her past. People now, if you start the game, will never know about her struggle and her Chuni BU personality, how it happened. Her relationship to her mom and dad, how it was. It was such an interesting lore. But it will never come back, guys. People will never see that again. It's so weird that they locked this behind. And this is a really big one coming up. No options to get more artifact XP. I'm not sure if I'm the only one with this, probably not. But other than the teapot, there's no way to get more artifact XP. In 4 years, all the things you can do is farming domains. And the amount of artifact XP that you need to level 1 artifact to max is just ridiculously high. I don't know why they never improved on that. This is one point that I saw in Anomalix's video, so shout out to him. But the Archon statue with limited heals, I don't know why it's still limited. You go to the statue and sometimes if you have healed too much, it's empty. The freaking gods don't want to heal you anymore because you've healed too much. Also, what is up with the range of this thing? You have to get so close to it. It's just so annoying and frustrating once again. That could be fixed so easily. I mean, Genshin is meant to fail at some point because if they just simply choose to not evolve or adapt to the future of the game and just make the same stuff, people will get bored of it. At some point, Wuthering Waves will probably outperform Genshin. The way Genshin has been handling their game without adapting to the future of the game or without improving their own game, they will get outperformed. This is what happens to everything. If you don't adapt or improve, there's gonna be something new that will be better. And over time, players will realize this and move over to Wuthering Waves. Even if it's gonna take years. At some point, if Wuthering Waves keeps up that pace and Genshin will stay this ignorant company that doesn't improve their own game, I think Genshin is simply just the best example of what's gonna happen if you put your own ideals over the players that actually play the game. At one point, you will have these brain dead players that don't care about the game, what's happening, and they simply eat up the shit. You're gonna have these frustrated players over time and will swap over to a new game, like Wuthering Waves. While I do think that the ideals and goals of the developers should still be important, it is also important as a game company that has live service to put players really high in their priorities. While Genshin is just ignoring every type of feedback. I don't even know why they are still doing the surveys if nothing is changing in the game. Why do you need to swap to a claymore unit if you wanna farm crystals? This is such an easy thing they could fix and it's just so annoying. And all these simple annoying things just add up together until you just reach a point where you simply are too frustrated to play the game. There's so many points that I've said already. And it still keeps on getting longer, this list. They never added more challenging content to the game. Another big point, no end game. But I guess we talked about this already enough in my other videos. Now they want to add it 4 years later when Wuthering Waves comes out. Which is, yeah, not surprising. And one other big wake-up call that players are now realizing from Wuthering Waves jumping back to Genshin is the weapon banner. The simple fact that you have a guaranteed chance to get the weapon that you want without having to pull 3 times legendary. The amount of money you still have to spend in Genshin for a weapon is just ridiculous. If you're unlucky with this banner, it is such a frustrating banner. Nobody does it. Everybody calls it a scam. Why is it still so bad, even years later? Okay, these were all the things that I actually wrote down. There's probably many other things that the game has. There's so many flaws in Genshin, man. Which you can let me know in the comments if you have more big points that I missed in this video. I tried my best to maybe have the most important ones or the reasons why people actually stopped playing the game or got so frustrated with the game that they simply cannot start it anymore. I'm just so thankful that we now have a competitor for Genshin, and it's actually such a good game. I cannot believe that I literally got everything that I wished for in Genshin. I literally got it now in Wuthering Waves. As a gameplay player that literally cares about challenging content and gameplay itself and combat itself, Wuthering Waves is just the perfect game for me. So I will keep continuing making content about that game. I will also probably keep playing Genshin, to be honest. When Netlin comes out, I'm probably gonna play it more actively again. But over time, everybody will realize that Wuthering Waves is simply just better. The way and the pace, how they improve their own game, listen to feedback, and simply just address everything and compensate and reward their players is just simply 100 times better than Genshin will ever be, probably. People want to support Kuro games, people want to hate on Genshin. That's basically right now the state of the player bases, at least the majority. With this, I'm gonna leave you guys here. This was my long video with all the flaws that Genshin has. Let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you give this a thumbs up, subscribe, or just leave a comment. Thank you guys for watching and kind of blowing up my last video. I'm really thankful, and I see you hopefully in the next video. See you next time. Bye.
You're the only one world, one love, but the battle goes on, shadows of mass destruction. Ooh, yeah. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Baby, baby. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Ooh, yes. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Baby, baby. Do-do-do-do-do.